Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for your Model Railway. In this episode we're going to continue with the series for the DTS 62 and we're going to be looking to do the bit of work in this area here. Now, looking at the photographs, what we've got on here, what looks like some sort of gearbox going on under here. A couple of drive trains come out each side. Again, there's a lot of very slim, small parts that we're not going to be able to draw. Just because they're just not going to be pinned properly. So we're just going to do the main representation of the gearbox here, and then the couple of drive chains. These bits here, I'm going to have some sort of support that comes upwards, and whether we can get them to hide behind the bogie, I don't know. Whether I want to go into this area here and have the support coming up, whether that would be interfering with the swing of the bogie. It's only something I could try. Print it separately, maybe print it separately, blue tack it in place, and then just see whether it'll spin okay. If it does work fine, then go ahead and glue it into position. But definitely going to be creating a separate component in here. So going into our normal routine, create a new component for it. I'm going to call it the gearbox, just because, as I say, it looks similar to what a gearbox would look like. So we now got the gearbox down here and the radio button highlighted. Okay, so look under the chassis. First thing we're going to look at drawing is we've got this beam that comes across here. So I'm going to have to draw that underneath in this area here, and obviously making sure we don't clash with these parts. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm just going to draw on this bottom surface to start with. There's not a lot of room in here, so I don't think we're going to be able to draw all of it. Let's actually start with a centre point rectangle so that we can get the midpoint of the chassis. We're going to have to project the chassis geometry on there, and then we'll create a centre point rectangle. Find the midpoint. I'm going to turn the bogies off, it's getting in the way. Find that midpoint, come across. Sort of somewhere in this area here. It's going to be about a similar sort of width to this part here. Okay, let's draw that on, turn the bogie back on. So that's too long, so we're going to have to adjust that. So let's fix the midpoint so that doesn't move. And then we're going to constrain these corners so the width's going to be the same on both sides. And then I'm going to, that's going to affect this. Let's move this position, let's unfix that now. No, unfix. And we're going to go to dimension. From there to the end. I'm going to move it to the right slightly, so see what happens, 33 millimeters. Okay. And we'll constrain that to that corner there. Okay, let's make this a little bit longer. So we're going to go about that sort of length. Define that to the angle. Define the length. 15 millimeters to round it up. And then we're going to extrude downwards. I'm going to come 1 millimeter, I think. Maybe 1.5 millimeters. New body, don't want it to join. Just debating whether I now want to draw an angled piece in behind the bogie there. I don't think I do, because I don't want to clash with the back of the flange, and I think that's it gives you that profile effect that we're looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to sort of draw this part here. You can see it comes in slightly, down, across the bottom, up, and then diagonally across again. So I'm going to start by creating an offset plane, turn the bogie off, I'm going to offset plane from the side face there. In fact, I'm not going to do offset plane, I'm going to do a mid plane. Turn the bogey off, select that face, difficult to see into, so we're going to grab that face there. Okay, and that's going to put the midpoint roughly just to the right of that light. So if we have a look, yeah, to the midpoint there, just to the right of the light there. Okay, so draw a sketch on that inside surface. Slice through so we're actually at that point. Okay, let's start with a center point rectangle. And we can find the midpoint and come down. Thinking something like that. Let's go for 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. That puts that below the bogey frame. Rotate it back down so we can see the height of that. Turn the bogey back on. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. It's coming across the bottom here. It's going to be roughly in line with that. So. Let's now draw the diagonal pieces on the side. So we're going to go from the corner here. So it's not selecting it, so we're going to have to project the geometry of that piece coming across the bottom and then draw the lines. I'm going to go select the angle. I'm going to go 35 degrees and then I'm going to snap it onto the side there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Select the angle at 35 degrees. Oh, it's going the other way, so it's 180 minus 35. Oops, didn't snap to the side. Let's coincidence that to there. Drag the link out. Okay, let's define the height here from there to there that we've done. I think it's not. Define that, and then from there. Then fully defined, we can then select those profiles and extrude. I'm going to do a symmetrical extrusion. And I'm going to go for about 1 millimeter, which will put 2 millimeters. Time we back to the other siding. Then we'll have a look at that. Looks about right there. Okay, so we're going to want some circles on the end for the drivetrain to come out. Now, I'm not quite sure how many there is. This side there's definitely 2. This side it looks like there might be just 1, but potentially 2 because there's an extra loop there. So I don't know whether one's been taken off at some point. And then you can see they go, both of them go into the bogey. So we're going to do bogey end first. What I'm going to draw is on the bottom of this piece we put underneath. I'm just going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to go full width, which was 4 millimeters. I'm just going to do it 1 millimeter thick, and I'm going to extrude that down. Now you can see they come down slightly and go up slightly, so we do need to be below the point of this. So I'm going to go for about 3 millimeters down and click on OK. The next thing I'm going to draw is on this inside plate. I'm going to draw 2 circles and slice through, and they're going to act as the lofting point for our drive shaft coming out. So I'm going to draw a circle about halfway up. Let's see what we can get. 0.7, I think. And define the distance on the side as 0.5. Do the same on the other side. 0.7 diameter, and then distance on the side 0.5. We can horizontally and vertically constrain the two of them, and then define their height upwards as 0.6. Okay, so you can see they come out straight to start with. So we're just going to select the inside profiles there, and we're just going to extrude those towards us slightly, maybe 0.5 millimeters. I think actually I'm just going to shorten this up a little bit. Edit that. I'm just going to do that to 2.5. I don't think it needs to be quite so far down. Excuse me. Okay, so we can see the one on the side nearest on this picture goes down slightly, and then the other side goes up slightly. So that's the other side of the unit. So this one's got to go up slightly. If we draw on this sketch here, and slice through, find the midpoint, we'll come up and across. Let's go somewhere like this, so 0.7 for the diameter there. I'm not going to define them at the moment because I'm going to have to potentially move these around. 0.7 there, and I want this one slightly lower. And then I'm going to select both of these, extrude them. I'm going to do an extrusion 0.5. And then I'm going to loft between them. So, as I said, remember last time I can only loft between two things initially. So I'm going to loft there on that one. And then do the same on the other side. Okay, so you can see how they've come out. So we're going to move these inboard slightly. So let's edit those sketches, rotate it, and we're going to define these inboard a bit more. Excuse me. Oops, don't want to do it that way. I need to do it that way. So it's 1.15 at the moment. So let's go for 2 millimeters. That's way too much. 1.5. Yeah, I think 1.5 will work on those. So do the same on the other side. There to there. And that's going to be 1.5 also. If we finish that sketch, I should put those two roughly straight in line. Yep. Okay, how do we look for heights difference between them? I think I want this one a little bit higher. Move that to 1.4. And this one, define it as 0.6. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Okay, so coming out the other side now, this one's in line with the one that goes down, so we'll just extrude that through. Pretty sure it could just come through in a straight line, and then put a square on the end, and then we'll come upwards and support it on this inside face here. So we're looking at this one here. So if we come into that sketch, edit the sketch, and we can select that profile there, and then we can do another extrusion. And I'm going to come the other direction. I want it to be join, coming this direction. How far do we need to go? That's the important question. So it's going to go sort of behind this with a square section. So it can't go too far because this is going to be in the way here. So yeah, I think I'm going to go 5 mil out, and then I'm going to draw the square rectangular part on the back of that circle, slicing through so we get to it, creating center point rectangle, sorry, and let's have a look at the size. I'm thinking maybe 1.5 millimeters square. features. I'm going to extrude them. And length, I'm going to go for 2 millimeters. It looks just that foot or so. Okay. Yep. I might actually just extend that a little bit more. 2.5 millimeters. Just give me that extra bit of length. And then I'm going to put support coming in up here. And it's going to be on this side. That's the inside. And I think I'm going to use a center point rectangle so it looks like it's in the middle of the box. It doesn't look like it's set to one side or the other. So find that midpoint. That might cause a problem. Yeah, it is. I'm going to have to just draw a normal rectangle, I think. Because the center point rectangle will also come out the bottom, and I don't want that. Okay, so snap the bottom edge, will come up into the top part, like that. Define the distances from the edge to give me more width. So I'm going to 0.6 on there, and 0.6 on that end. Height, I can define the height, as long as it goes up into that top part, then it's fine. Select the two features and then extrude. That should. I'm going to go for 0.5, that'll be fine. Join up the top there. That gives that support there, so it's not floating. And it also gives the fill in this hole here. You could also draw that on the side here if you wanted to. So that's on this side. If you wanted to draw that, I'm going to draw that on the. I'm going to draw on that face and do two-sided extrusion. So slice height-wise. It's just above the midpoint. So that's the midpoint there. We're going to come above it to the side. Let's go for 0.5, I think. To find the distance to the side of the box there, I'm going to go for 0.5 just to bring it in slightly, and then select the two profiles and extrude. I'm going to do two-sided extrusion. Back slightly, 1 millimeter, and go forwards 0.6. Let's join. So this bit's floating on the side there, and you can see how that's probably touching some of the part in here, but it's attached here, so you know it's got the support. If I have to, I can put a support in there to shore that up a little bit. Do I want to add more detail underneath there? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Do I want to go more? What's going to be seen? What isn't going to be seen? I don't think a lot's going to be seen underneath. You know, this is going to catch the eye. And these really are the centerpiece of the unit. They're going to catch the eye, and these will get hidden because they're going to be, you know, my model. What colour they're going to be? Let's have a quick look. They're going to be. So they're going to be yellow, looking at this, but obviously there'll be a lot of dirt going on under there. On this side, you can see we've got this coming down. That's on the other side. So it comes down in this position, in line with the gearbox. So there's like a circular piece coming down there. And then there's a spring on the other part. So we're going to come down from, let's come off of there, I think. Let's turn the chassis off. And we'll turn the engine and the roof panel off. just lagging. I'll rotate onto the top surface, create a sketch on there. And we want to be roughly in line with that gearbox is. We'll come out slightly. I'm going to go for 1.3mm circle and define the distance to the side there as 0.55, just so you've got the overlap. And then I'm going to select both of these inner profiles and then extrude. So we're going to come downwards. This side one. And it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the gearbox, so let's come down. Yeah, 3mm probably fine. Click on OK there. So let's join in that circular part on there. And then we've got a spring that sits roughly in this point here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add this coil in. I don't think it's a spring because it looks like it's some sort of pipe work that's connected to all this hydraulic stuff. I'm just going to use the coil tool. Now you think that the easy option would be to draw a coil from this top surface downwards. But unfortunately the coils in Fusion don't work like that. You've got to go from the bottom up. So I'm going to construct an offset plane from that top surface. I'm going to have to drag it down. So if we look at the photo, sort of 2/3 of the way down this canister, which is roughly where we've got there. So coming down to 2mm, click on OK. And I'm going to create a coil on that surface, rotate to the top surface. I'm going to go sort of this position here and just drag it out to 1.3mm. Define, it won't let me define that distance there. Let me undo that and start again. So draw a coil about there, 1.3mm. I'll have to redefine its position in a minute. Okay, so you can see how it's positioned there. We're going to tell it to join. I'm going to drag this up so it's matching that top surface there. I want this bit probably down a little bit, so maybe 1.8. 1.84, and that looks like it's pretty much level at the top there. Okay, let's increase the number of revolutions now. So let's go for 5, and we're going to make them smaller. So I'm going to make this 0.2mm. So you're going to make that 5.5 revolutions. No, 5.25. So it just takes the top into the back there. I'm going to keep that as it is, but then I'm going to also want just a pipe up the middle, just similar to this, because this would be delicate and would break too easily. Let's just add an extra rotation in there, so 6.25. Just no, let's go 7.25. Yeah, 7.25. Just hides the holes up a little bit. Tell that to join, and then I'm going to create a sketch on that surface that we just had. Right, I'm going to have to do that again because I didn't tick this, and you can't just move them, unfortunately. So let's undo that coil. Let's undo that offset plane. Let's click that offset plane from there. So it's become unchecked because I'm doing this on a different day from what I was recording earlier. Okay, so back onto there. Didn't even need to do a sketch, delete that. Create coil, that's what I'm after. As I said, I'm going to do it on here. 1.3 we said. Rotate that. What's that doing up there? Okay, let's try again. Right. So we've got a construction plane. Where is it? There. Create coil plane. That there, 1.3 diameter. Rotate. Okay. So height-wise, what did we say? That was fine. That was 7.25 rotations. Height. We need to reduce the size. 0.3 diameter. Probably smaller. I can't remember what we had. 0.2. Yeah, 0.2. Let's just bring that down. 1.9. That'll do. Join. Yep, going to the back there. Okay, that looks fine. Click on OK. Still in that radio box. Going to create a sketch on that plane we just created. I'm going to put just a circle. Let's see if we can project that. Yep. A circle. It won't find the midpoint. In the middle there. And we're just going to cut enough into the coil like that. And then extrude to the top surface, turn it to join. And that's just going to add the support on the inside. You still can see the coil effect, but it's just giving it a bit more support underneath. You will have to support this part here. It's there, but that'll be fine. Okay, so that's our coil area done. Okay, so I think that's about as much detail as I want to add in that gearbox type area. I've had a look at the photos. There's not a lot else I could add there that's not going to be too small to print properly. So I think that's, it's filled that hole in quite nicely. You can't see all the way through. There's plenty of detail added. I'm going to leave that episode here, I think, and then we'll come back and work on a bit more in the future. You can see how, for me, I think this is really starting to take shape quite nicely, and I can't wait to get it printed and see what it looks like. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please like and subscribe to make sure you're notified when the next video goes online. Thanks for watching.